thoughts on Eurocentric beauty standards and whatnot. Definitely like Nichelle, like Lisa. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I can like exactly feel like I related. I think I grew up like them. No, sorry, take it back. And not like in an offensive way, but just like, let me just start from the beginning. What am I trying to say here? Hang on. Okay, yes, I got it. So I think I grew up in a pretty, in a way that I didn't feel othered either, because my neighborhoods that I've grown up in were very Filipino and Latino. But I definitely, and I don't know, I'm not too even embarrassed to say it, like I definitely was like so whitewashed. Like I almost forced myself to be whitewashed as I was growing up, you know? I think one thing that's pretty cool about my parents, well, my dad, is that like he really fought. He was so woke. Like he really fought to like not let us play with Barbies, to not give us quinceañeras, only because of like those cultural significances of what a quinceañera was, which to him it was like you're presenting your daughter at like a marriageable age now. And he was like super against that. He was like, I'm not going to do that to my daughters. And then like he didn't want us playing with Barbies because he didn't want us to get that idea of like the ideal beauty is like a white skinned blonde haired woman. But as a young kid, I didn't understand any of that. I thought he was just like super mean and lame, and like I just really wanted to idolize like Barbies as a young kid. But I mostly played with Pollies actually, and I freaking love Pollies to this day. But I definitely can see how playing with dolls like that, and how like growing up the way I did, which was reading a lot of like clicky like teeny bopper books and stuff, like I read a ton, but it was just so framed around trying to be like the ideal white girl. And that's just how I grew up. And I think I definitely have grown out of that since then. Probably when I got into high school and college, I like started dissociating from that whole like idea. But it came later in my life for sure. And it definitely came with the like uprising of like starting to love your skin tone and like Black beauty and melanin. And, you know, like it didn't come from me necessarily, you know, or like me figuring it out for myself. Yeah, I don't know what else to add to that right now, but I would jump back in later if something else comes up.
I want to bring up a point really quick that I also had noticed, like with wanting, like, I think I just wanted to be affiliated with whiteness so much, like, as far as, you know, dating someone who was white, because you see the way that white people are treated versus the way people who look like you are treated. And you're like, oh, well, maybe if I do this, maybe they'll see me differently. But then it's just like, no, no,
Yeah,
that's all I wanted to add to that. But Miranda, if you want to popcorn it,
I
have.
will put it off to, I choose? Okay, Leo.
Okay. Um, yeah. So like about the whole like loving your skin more as you're older and all that. That's honestly something that I still kind of struggle with. Like I didn't start actually like I moved out of the high desert in late 2017, early 2018, and the high desert was like super white. The whole culture is super white. It's like people who are born up there usually stay up there. So like I would always get like I would live from like Adelanto to Lucerne Valley to um yeah and all that stuff, and everybody, like a lot of, when I moved to Lucerne Valley, people would be like, oh, you're exotic, where are you from? And I'm like, come on, man. Like, don't ask me that, please. I was born in LA. Oh, but you look, no, I'm Mexican. It like, I don't know, like I hate it. I hate getting asked those questions. And like when I was like at the time I didn't like think too much about it. I don't know. I just thought it was weird. But like yeah, so it's been like just a few years since I've been away from that environment and more like immersed in like the IE culture where people are a little more proud and to be like who they are, where um I hate the sexualization and all that stuff of skin tone. But anyways, yeah, like I have this weird relationship with my skin. I'm just like, am I viewed as brown enough? Am I viewed as white enough? Like, where am I on this like spectrum? You know, like how much of a threat do people see me as, or how much of a like I don't know, like it's enough to where like I actually like police myself whenever I enter a store. Like I will like I'll be like really rigid in like a Target or something like that. Like I'll make sure my hands are always visible, you know, and that like I never like touch too much stuff because I don't want anybody. Because like up there, I would have people like eye me, follow me, and I'm like, bro, like I'm the most whitewashed Mexican up here. Like I say stuff, stupid stuff like that. And like for a time, like I just had to like accept that. And I don't know, it's really hard feeling like alien and feeling like weird in your own skin. But like I'm I'm on a journey of like, you know, and doing that whole like interrogating yourself and really looking like trying to look deeper, trying to like unlearn all these toxic things that were like implemented on us, you know. Yeah. I think I said enough about that. I'm gonna popcorn it off to wait. Who's talked about this already and who hasn't? Did Sandy go already? Did you go? Okay. Popcorning off to you.
You. Um, I feel like something that you said really resonated with me right now when it came to like um just the area between not being white enough, like light enough, white enough to be white or any of that, but also not being brown enough, dark enough to feel as part of like your cultural side. Um, and so, yeah, like I come from a mixed background of I am Chinese on my father's side and I am Peruvian on my mother's side. And so got a little Asian over here. Um, and I don't know, it's always been so weird because I personally don't think that I adhere to conventional beauty standards. Growing up, it's not like I was stopped all the time, like, oh my God, you're so beautiful, gorgeous, etc. And so that kind of really did fuck with my self-confidence and thinking like, am I pretty? Am I worth whatever society deems of me? But something that I did get a lot was, wow, you look so exotic, because a lot of people, I was very racially ambiguous. I still think I kind of am. No, I am, because a lot of people still like, oh, so what are you? That's a question I've been asked a lot in my life. What is this? Like, a lot of people see me as like, oh, you look Asian and something else. So when I do speak Spanish, because Spanish is my first language, they like are shocked, you know, which like is understandable. Of like sometimes when you don't see something as often, like it's kind of like a wow factor, I guess. But growing up, the term exotic honestly didn't bother me. It wasn't until college that I got into like group discussions with other like mixed people. And honestly, it kind of sucks that it wasn't until college that I was able to be in a group of mixed people. Like mixed identities, at least in my experience, have been very confusing. It's been very like, I don't fit in with one ideal culture and I don't fit in with the other, like beauty standard wise. And so when I did start hearing about the term exotic and how a lot of people felt like they didn't like that term, they felt that they were being fetishized, they felt that they were being like other than, and also like kind of animalized in a way, because like a lot of people consider animals as being, that's such an exotic animal, you know, and using that term to be placed on us as like beings, you know. And so oddly enough, the other day, I believe this was like Sunday night, I was thinking about like the term exotic and like why was I not bothered by this term growing up. And I kind of came to the realization that as being called exotic was kind of the only it was the only term of endearment that I got from like strangers, other than like my like personal family who, you know, you say like, oh, you're beautiful, etc., you know. And so by being sought by strangers and like other people and being called exotic, I felt a sort of sense of fulfillment, of feeling like, oh, they see me as something amazing, they see me as something unique, you know. And I placed that term as like part of my self-worth. um and I never really challenged it. I never really thought about anything other than that, because that was like the only quote unquote compliment that I would get growing up, which is kind of really shitty that that's what I thought was like awesome. Um, and so now that I'm older and I'm like thinking about like these terms, thinking about like the root of it all, I'm coming to terms of like, hey, you know what? Yeah, that's not okay. Like, it's not okay to consider yourself as that. Also, like, fuck what strangers think of you. Like, why is somebody else's perception of my face, my body, like important and whatever? Like, I honestly will give big props to Carly. Like, Carly girl, like seeing you and just like popping off, and like I feel like I see my body type in you as well. Like I never felt, I wasn't like a skinny girl growing up. I am like medium size, I would like consider myself. And it just like give me so much confidence, and I'm just like, cause you're fucking hot. Like, I'm just saying. But anyways, like just like feeling that, and also feeling like you gotta be unapologetically yourself. I'm really trying on that level of feeling confident, showing my arms more because I'm self-conscious of them, but like, you know, we jiggling and that's fine. We here for the jiggle, we're the bat wings. And then one last thing, I know I've been kind of ranting a little bit, but in terms of whiteness, I did talk to Carly about this one time, but like I distinctly remember one time, I was like rather young still in like my childhood, and I had a distinct memory of what I envisioned myself being older, like being in my 20s, like some hot young girl. And I remember myself thinking that I was going to be blonde, I was going to be white, I was going to be like blue-eyed, wearing like a little tube top and like a little denim skirt, and just like being this little Barbie like hourglass figure. And just the fact that like that was my ideal standard of beauty is just really shitty. That the representation wasn't there to make me feel beautiful or to like help support myself growing up with like more ethnic features, more people like me. Oh, also one more thing. I have a bumpy nose and I am happy about it. It is my Peruvian but like nose. She's curved and she doesn't need to be straight, and I'm happy about that. So yes. Okay. Thank you for listening, you all. I appreciate it. And yes, okay. I'd like to popcorn off to Elizabeth.
Okay. I guess my relationship with my features is, well, I think a lot of it had to do even just being a Latina woman. As many of you may know, you know, in Mexico, basically, people who are white or more white are considered more beautiful. That's what you see on TV. It's blatant. It wasn't until recently, like a dark-skinned woman, I don't remember her name, but she's like a model from Oaxaca. You know, she recently gained fame for having darker skin and being on the cover of a magazine. And that's just recently. And then the girl from Rome, I think, is that the name of the movie? Rome. I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about too. She's like an indigenous woman. And that's also a really recent thing that, you know, an indigenous woman is a main character like that in a movie. That's how you know it's like really bad. And I remember I had a friend who once told me that when she went to Brazil, people there were like doubting that she was Mexican because they're like, Mexicans are like white and they have like blue eyes and blonde hair. Like that's what Brazilian people thought because that's what they saw in the novellas. But so growing up, I already felt like I wasn't, you know, I didn't fit the standard, even within my culture. I didn't feel it. And like, I mean, right now I'm pretty light because I haven't gone out because of COVID. But naturally, when I'm just living my life, I'm like a little bit more tan. And I remember growing up, and I was just like Carly. Like I would wish that I would wake up and be lighter. And I remember I would do research on like creams, and I would spend my money on like creams to lighten my skin. And I really wanted nose surgery because I wanted like a high nose bridge and like, you know, like pointy and like I wanted cheekbones and like I don't know, I just wanted a more Caucasian looking face. And I did research on that, and I was like seriously considering it. And I don't know, it's just wild to me that I went so long. And even like, I'm not gonna lie about it and be like, oh, I'm like totally 100% love myself now. I feel like I went so long thinking that way that it's so hard to undo all of that. But I'm constantly working on just like being okay with myself and being like, hey, like I am who I am, and I'm still worthy of, you know, existing, of being loved, of being surrounded by people that care about me, of living a good life. So, but that was always a struggle for me. And I don't know, I also hated my body type, like many of you did too. I have really wide hips. And even though that's like a good thing now, I guess, because, you know, curvier women are kind of more in style now. Again, it's so hard for me to undo that like mentality where I'm just like, because growing up, my friends in high school were white and they were skinny and they didn't have curves. So I wanted to be that so bad. To, you know, and it would get, I don't know, it would get really bad to where like trigger warning if anyone has any like issues with eating disorders, hopefully not. But like I had disordered eating behaviors because I wanted to be this skinny girl. And it would just make me so sad that I could like not get like hip surgery, like, you know. But I'm in a much better place now. I learning to love myself every single day and undo everything, even from like my family, who would call me Wacha Prieta. I don't know if any of you know like that slang, but it's just like Wacha is like slang for child, and Prieta is like a derogatory term kind of for a dark-skinned person. Because like I said, I'm typically a little darker when I'm like living my life in the sun, like a normal person, not at home. But yeah, every day I'm working towards it. Every day I'm working towards undoing all that, because that has really actually been a big struggle of mine. But yeah, as of now, I'm okay with myself. And I want to also like give a shout out to Carly too, because when you put yourself out there and you're just like, you know, my curls, I love myself, I love my body, like that makes me want to also be like, yeah, you know, fuck it, like I am who I am, like you like it, good, you know, bye, like you know. But yeah, that's where I am now. And I guess I'll popcorn it off to Enrique.
Hello. Thank you for that. I loved everything you said. um, Honestly, I think I really resonated with a lot of what, can everyone hear me first of all? Okay, I'm a little traumatized. Um, I'm like, I lost my train of thought. I really resonated with a lot of what you guys said because I think me being like heavily, I grew up in Chicano culture. I think I really kind of struggled because I wasn't dark enough to be like considered full Mexican, even though both my parents were born in Mexico and they're lighter than me. So like, how are you gonna invalidate like how Mexican I am? Like, bitch, like, sorry, but like, yeah. So, and it was crazy because growing up, I would hear a lot of my family and older family members say like to my brother who is darker than me, like, oh, like he's too dark, or they would recommend people like me not to be in the sun, or my grandma would say like, oh, like you naciste bien clarito, which means like you were born so light, like you were gifted, and like yeah, so it kind of really did fuck with my head, like how Sandy was saying, like I started really hating my features, like I didn't want to be any darker, like, because I do tan naturally, like I'm Mexican. I do have a sun allergy, so I don't really go out, but I do tan. And it just kind of sucked because like I didn't listen to, like I got made fun of for my lips a lot, especially. That was kind of a big feature that was made fun of. Sorry, I'm catching up. Yeah, so even people would say like N-word lips, and once I started really hearing that from multiple people, I was kind of like, why? Like, why am I like? I'm not even not even to say anything, but like I'm not Black, so like the fact that I was being made fun of for having big lips, and then for people who were saying it as like N-word lips, I was like kind of really confused by that, and that's when I kind of really started to question where it kind of stemmed from, and I'm like, honestly, like it's not like it starts with Black people, like, and then everyone above it who's lighter and lighter and lighter in shade, and like, so that's kind of where I was like, oh my god, like it has nothing to do with me. It's about colors and my features and like that. And I growing up, like obviously as an adult, like I had to really understand that. And then now I love having big lips. Like everybody's over here trying to get fake lips, and I'm like, oh, I was born with these. Like, and I used to hate them. Like I used to hate them, and I used to hate having like a butt or being too curvy for like a dude. And I would like hide it. I would hide it in the chair. And I was like super. I don't know. It had just gotten to a point where like like what Sandy was saying, I would idolize this figure in my head to where I was like, oh my god, one day I'm gonna look the way I want, and I'm gonna have what I want. Like I'm gonna be there. Once I have money, I can get the surgery. I can do this. Like I'll be what I fucking want to be. And I'm like, oh my god, like everyone is out here trying to look like people like us, and I'm over here dreaming about looking differently. Like that just it sucks. It sucks so much. And I love that we're all bad bitches and we all look different. Like I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, so it's also, sorry, I did have notes. For brown eyes too, like I used to hate my brown eyes, and I used to want colored eyes so bad. I used to want to like trim all the extra little hair that I grew because people were like, why are you growing hair there? Like, girl, I'm Mexican. Like people we grow hair everywhere. Like people, I don't know. It just got so bad, and I really felt stuck too because like I wasn't Mexican enough for the Mexican people, and I wasn't white enough for the white people. And I'm like, oh my god, like that's when I started getting those compliments, like you look different, like what are you, what ethnicity are you? And like people were obsessed with kind of figuring out where I fit in, but like me, I'm like, I don't fucking know where I fit in because like no one likes me. Like, and then on top of that, being non-binary is like it's a whole nother struggle. But like it, I don't know. It's oh, thank you, Sandy. I'm a lot less nervous now, so like I know I jumped on here like fucking spitting fire, but but I am super excited that like we all kind of relate to that because we are all very much in like a middle ground when it like, you know what I mean? We're not like the whitest of white, we're not darkest of dark, but we all have such ethnic, I don't know, like we're all valid, and I love this space because we're all getting to talk about it, and like because it sucks like to grow up hating yourself when you realize like everyone is trying to look like you. It's like that's so fucked up. Okay, so yeah, I think that's I feel good. I'm feeling good. Oh yeah. I think I'm kind of popcorn. I off to Kayla. Are you down?
I'm down. Thanks everyone for sharing, and I just want to say that I respect all of you guys on a whole nother level, because I didn't get a chance to stay on as much last meeting, but it feels like I kind of like know everyone now, but which makes it like easier to share. So something that I've been wanting, that has also been in the back of my mind in relation to this topic, is being a person of color and identifying your roots, and then how your roots have been influenced a lot by colorism and classism, especially for me being an Asian American. And I think a lot of people can relate in this way, is that even within your own, even in your own background and ethnic roots, there's like this history of how being white is like related to your social class, like where you stand in social class, in classism and colorism. So, and that's still really like relevant in China, where it's like if your skin is whiter, like that indicates you don't work in the farm, you don't work in the fields, and you're like a person of wealth. But so that's, both of my parents are, my dad's side is Southern China, and then my mom is like Southeast Asian. So it feels like interesting just how much or what, okay, it's interesting to me that like somebody who drew lines on a map created this whole, I don't know, this whole thing, this whole story about yourself that like you don't even know of. And it's still like, it lives on today with people drawing lines on a map and claiming it's theirs, and how much it affects like generations and generational trauma. But as far as like my experience with what ugly means to me, and growing up and being gay and being confused all the time, and being and growing up in San Francisco, but also growing up in the suburbs, it's, I don't even know where to start. But I've always, I don't know, I've kind of like, ever since I was born, I kind of have never really cared about what other people thought about me, because my mom is an immigrant from Laos after the Vietnam War, and she came to San Francisco, and she took a lot of that impact for me, of knowing that there's always going to be something against you. There's always going to be someone against you. So she taught that to me, that the world is always going to be against you. And it made me think of my life in a different way, very young, because I always hated boys. And I always hated I always hated the norm. I was a shitty student growing up. I liked girls, but I didn't know how to express myself. Like I had this really weird, I don't know, or not even weird, but I just had a very normal childhood, I guess, in this context of what life even really means today. But Yeah, I was a very troubled kid. Yeah, I'm not a Sag moon, but I am an Aries moon, so I'm very passionate about what I believe in. Anyways, so I guess this whole ugly thing is, it's subjective, but it's also like where I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even. It's I don't know. But basically, that's kind of like what my experience is so far. Like I don't even know where it like where does ugly like I don't know. I've just always gone against the wind in that sense. But um, I would love to pass this on. uh, I will pass this on to Andrea. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for sharing, Kayla. Um, where do I begin with Indigenous features? For myself, I think growing up, definitely my complexion was like a problem for me. And I'm trying to think right now, like where that came from. And I'm remembering like, I remember like one year my sister, she got like a black Barbie for her birthday. And so, you know, we like opened her up and we added her to like our Barbie collection. So then every time we would play, okay, let me tell you guys, I'm the youngest of four, right? So I always got like the short end of the stick. And then when we would play and they would like sort out the Barbies, they would always like give me the black Barbie, but I remember that they would like make a deal out of it, like, ew, like you have to play with this one. And I think I kind of like took that as like, you know, maybe having dark skin is a bad thing. But now I'm thinking like, okay, well, I got this from like them, right? But where did they get it from? And so it's just something that's like in my mind right now. Another thing that I'm thinking about is, I know Leo said earlier that you wanted to be like your uncle's girlfriend, white like the lotion. Well, for me, it was like the opposite. I remember this time, I must have been like 9 or 10, and I came out of the shower and I didn't put lotion on. And so my mom, she was like, oh, she's like, you look white. But what she meant is like, you look ashy. And in my head, I was like, oh, like, you know, maybe if I don't put lotion on, I'll be white, I'll be lighter. So I feel like I stopped putting lotion on for some time because of that. Like in my mind, I thought I was like a white girl now. Yeah. But again, back to like, where is this coming from? And I think it was like Miranda, you mentioned that your dad kept you from like playing with Barbies and all of that, right? Because, you know, kind of like finding yourself and your own like standards of beauty, right? Then I think that's a good thing. And I think that more parents should maybe like do that with their children. And like this probably needs to start in the home, like reinforcing, you know, what is beautiful and like telling our own kids that, you know, they're okay the way that they look rather than trying to fit in what they see on TV and, you know, in the media and all of that. Yeah. I'm gonna pass it on to Alondra. Have you gone? Okay.
Hi guys. I can relate to some things that Nichelle and Lisa said. I'm gonna start off with what Nichelle said and about her hair. So like while I was growing up, my mom always wanted me to have my hair done, and I remember hating having my hair done in ponytails. Like by 8th grade, I was sick and tired of her just doing my hair because if I went to school with my hair done, I needed to come back home with my hair done the same exact way I left home, and it's just like it made me feel like I wasn't myself. Like I couldn't even like express myself through my hair or through my style or anything. So like in 8th grade, I started straightening my hair, and it got to a lot. So I stopped straightening it when it was like a senior in high school. And then it wasn't until like college that I realized that like how like destructive it all was, that like it was more of like I was like straightening away my identity, like that is not who I am. And like I was just like, oh, let me just straighten it. Like no, you're straightening away who you are, your Mexicanness and everything. And aside from that, like I was a swimmer in high school. I've been swimming since like I was in 6th grade, so I was always dark. And it was just like I didn't realize how dark I was until I studied abroad in Europe, and I came back and I was like white as fuck. And I was like looking at my skin in the mirror, and I was like, yes, I look beautiful, I love this color. And then like a year later I was like, why did I even think that? Why did I even think that like having like white skin is beautiful? Like I now love my brown skin, and I wish I would have never thought it. And like even as like like 2 years ago, I remember looking at my mom, and my mom was like darker than me. And I would be like, Mom, I hate your skin color. I'm so happy I have my dad's skin color, because my dad is like like closer to my skin color. And then she like reinforces it, and she's like, yeah, like I wish I had your skin color. And like I feel so bad like that she has to like put that. First of all, I put her through that comment, and then like second of all that she is like still colonized in this way. And then going to what Lisa said about like being a kid and like, you know, like growing up and then realizing that like white men don't like you, and it's not because white men don't like you, it's just white men don't like you, and you're not attracted to white men because they're not attracted to you, which is the same for me. Like I remember like I had celebrity crushes who were white, but in real life, like nobody really liked me when that nobody that was white really liked me. And then I realized that in high school, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I can't like white men. But now I'm just like, who gives a shit about white men? Fuck white men. You need to like sit there and like teach them so much. Like you shouldn't have to sit there and go through it. Shit. Yes, Harry Styles. I'm so obsessed with Harry Styles. Because he's hot, and like honestly it's like mostly because of style. And I think I've like gone and I've realized that like what I like about people isn't their skin color or anything. It's more of like you need to have an aesthetic, and if you have a set aesthetic and you stick to that aesthetic, like that makes you so beautiful, and you should continue doing that. So it's not about like like having a certain skin color or something. It's just like having an aesthetic that you stick to, and just being your true self and showing it through like what you do and what the things you wear and the way you are. Yeah. I'm pretty much done.
Libra energy.
I'm a Libra and a Pisces moon.
Did everyone go?
I think so.
Can I share one thing?
Yes.
So my roommate, she was like our vision quest guide on a fucking trip once, like a mushroom trip. And I remember towards the end, I was like staring at myself in like the mirror of my phone, right? I was staring at my face for like a good 5 minutes, and she was standing next to me. She was sober as all hell. She was like probably one of the greatest people I've ever known. And I was like, do I look like this? Like, is this really my face? Like, is this what people see when they like, when this is what people see? This is what I project into the world. And then she was like, yeah, but that's not all you project. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, people see your face, but they also feel your energy, and they hear your laugh, and they see your smile. And like, when she told me that, I never said one bad thing against myself again. Like, your face is just such a small part of who you are. Yes, I cried, Carly. God damn, I'm crying right now. So like, I just see all of y'all, and I'm like, dude, your energy is all so beautiful. Like, your faces are beautiful, your energy is beautiful, your minds are beautiful. And I really wish that we could jump out of that whole European beauty standard together.
I think I also wanted to, I was like taking mental notes when everyone was talking. But yeah, I feel like I also went through that phase of just like being like super insecure, and like going off of like what Elizabeth said about like eating disorders and all that stuff. Like I've never had one, but like when I was like in high school, or like even like I would say like it lasted until like sophomore year of college, I would always be like diet. It's like I need a diet, like I need to like lose weight and I need to diet, and like diets are the way to do it. And like I would just always go on these like episodes of like me dieting and not eating stuff that like I felt like were super bad for me, and this and that. And like I never really like lost any weight. Like if anything, I gained more weight. Like if like and like it wasn't until I would say my senior year of college that I actually like started realizing like what that kind of like does like to your like mind, like doing that type of stuff. And like I just like completely did like a total like 360, and like just like, you know what, like I'm gonna eat whatever I want, like, you know, like I'm gonna like enjoy like everything, and like not feel like I have to like limit myself because I was born like, you know, bigger, or like didn't like born curvier, like, or I have to like suppress like who I am because of like this like image that everyone portrays. And so like, yeah, I mean, like I do work out, and like I am like super active, and like I like do eat healthy and everything, but it's not because like I do that now because like I like doing it. I don't feel like I have to do it. Like, you know, it's not like it doesn't feel like a chore anymore, or something that like I hate doing. Like now it's kind of just like I really feel like it's like a lifestyle, and people take it as like, oh no, I just need to diet and like lose weight, and like then I'll like be fine, and like I can go back to like, you know, like enjoying life. But like I just feel like people get trained that way, and it's so like fucked up in your head, because like I've also been through it, and I've also like dealt with those feelings of just like, oh well, I need to lose weight, I need to lose weight. And like now like I used to be so addicted to like weighing myself and like seeing how much I weigh, because like I was just like, I don't know, like my weight has always been a problem for me. And like even though I'm like super tall, I'm like 5'8", and so like but like going to, I don't know if anyone experienced this, but like going to the doctors, like, oh, I hate this so much, but they used to always be like, oh, you're overweight. I mean, like, I would literally like be like, how? Like, I was just like, and I would be a kid, like, and like them telling a kid that, like, oh, you're overweight. Like, you know, like, I just feel like that's so, like, I hate that doctors do that. And like, I hate that that's like a thing. And they don't take in factors of like, you know, like how tall that person is, or like how healthy that person eats, because like someone can like weigh as much as they want but still have live a healthy lifestyle, and like it be like them be okay and healthy. And like so I just like really like bugs me. And like I wouldn't want anyone else to go through that, because I remember I used to dread going to the doctors because they would weigh me, because they would like tell me I'm overweight, because they told me I needed to go on a diet and like take like nutrition classes and like all this whole shit. And like it used to like really like mess with my mind. And like so like I think the first time I ever weighed myself was like 2 weeks ago, because my sister bought a scale, and like I literally, it was a very traumatizing for me. But yeah, like I just feel like I don't know, like weight shouldn't be a thing. And like now that I finally realized it, I know that I'm like confident enough to be like, I don't really care like how much like I weigh or like anything like that. And like I feel like for like younger girls, like they should also be taught that, because like I feel like something that like a lot of like even like my younger siblings, like, you know, like I can see it already, like, you know, like they go to the doctors, and like having a doctor tell you you're overweight, like someone that's like so like you're supposed to
Like,
listen to them and take their
yeah.
advice, like, and it's just like that's just so shocking to me. I just hate that so much. Like that's like one thing that really like traumatized me as a kid, was just like a doctor telling me that.
I can agree with that.
Honestly,
Sorry.
Yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I think I really relate to that, because I had gone to the doctors and been on diets like my whole life. I grew up really big. Up until like senior year of high school, I was like 300 pounds. So and it's funny because I started actually noticing that like when I started losing weight, like people were like super curious about it. They're like, how'd you do it? Like what is it? What's your secret? And blah, blah, blah. And I was like, why are these people so obsessed with like the fact that I lost weight? Like, when to me, I just thought it was like, oh, I'm big or whatever. But it was like, I'm kind of losing my train of thought. But, but like, like what you said, Michelle, like how I haven't really weighed myself in a long time. And I think it wasn't until I got to that point where I felt good and happy about my body because I stopped doing diets. Like every single time I was on a diet, I would lose 45 pounds and be so fucking happy, be living it up. And then I would get off this diet and gain like 60. And like, I was like, this is super unhealthy. Like, I can't be fluctuating like this. I can't like lose weight like this. And it wasn't really until I got like my mind to understand that like, oh, like this is the way your body is. This is the way your body was born. You need to love it. You need to like, and that's when it really got easier to eat healthy because it was like how you said, like it became kind of just like, I want to do this. Like, oh, I want to eat a watermelon outside under a tree. Like instead of like, oh, like I need to eat a salad because I need to lose 20 pounds by my birthday. Like that shit is not healthy for you to think that way. And I think that like, I don't know, everything that you said about weight, it like, because once I started losing weight, I got also like pretty privileged. Like I would go out and get dressed and I'd be like, no one ever looked at me, no one ever flirted with me. And like, I started noticing things were changing. But then that's another thing. It's like, the people that were really noticing the big changes were white people. Like there was no Mexican people telling me like, oh my God, you look so much better. There was like, it was just my white friends or like white passing Mexican friends that were like, you look so good, you look amazing. Cause like my nose slimmed down, I got more face. Like even right now that I gained a lot of weight in quarantine, like it hasn't even got really like affected me like it would have before because I'm like, it's so normal to gain weight under stress, under like whatever. So I kind of have to look in the mirror and do that thing where I'm like, honestly, like, yeah, you may have gained weight, but like, this is your body. It's still healthy. I was still able to get out of bed normally. Like these are things that like, I don't know, it's changed my perspective on dieting and stuff. And now, like, I don't know, like how we all said, like none of us want to look like a skinny white girl, a skinny white boy anymore. Like, and that's like what we are taught to, that's like how you get through in life. Like even, I don't know. Yeah. This is like that weight thing, like really put that in my head and I had to talk about it.
Yeah, I definitely like that was probably one of the biggest things that I went through like as a child was definitely like my weight. And but yeah, now like I mean like you said how you said that like people used to like be like, oh my God, you lost weight, how'd you do it? Like you're like you look so skinny now. I like I think now I do get a lot of people that ask me those questions and everything, like especially like through like Instagram, like I'll get messages like, oh my God, how did you lose like weight like so fast and da da da, like tell me. And it's just like I'm not like doing anything, like there's no fast, like I'm not trying to lose weight, like I'm just like you know, like I'm just being healthy and I'm just like living my life. And I still freaking eat hot Cheetos, like I can still down a whole ass bag of hot Cheetos, like, you know, like I'm not restricting myself from anything. And I feel like now that I do have that mentality of like I do share it with other girls and I do tell other girls like you shouldn't want to, like, you know, like you're beautiful the way you are, but if you feel like you want, like I think there's a big thing from like you feeling that you need to lose weight and you wanting to, or like it comes with a lot of people, like they feel like they need to lose weight to look pretty, they need to like have a skinny waist and like now they're like fat ass and like all this stuff. Like it's just like it's not, like I don't know, like it's just so messed up in society, like, and social media doesn't help. Like
Yeah.
social media is so fake. Like, it is literally so fake. Like filters, everything. I be hitting them angles, like, but I hit a different angle, and you're like, bitch, what? Like, you know, like it's just like, you're like, whoa, like that's you, like, you know,
where'd that come from?
Yeah, I catfish, like, you know, like it's just like it's not real, and so like I hate when people like want to talk down on girls or like want to talk down on people like in like general for like, you know, like I don't know, like I just feel like no one should talk down to anyone based off of like their weight, their looks. I just feel like it shouldn't be a thing. Like if anything, talk down on them because they have a shitty ass personality and like they're a shitty ass person and they're racist and they're ignorant. Like that's something to talk down on someone for, not because of like their weight or like how they look. Like that's just I hate that. But, yeah.
I want to comment on what Michelle was saying earlier about going to the doctors. Like I fucking hated going to the doctors as a kid because like I would have to go with my brother, and like right now he's on the bigger side. And when he was a kid, he was like skinny. He was like the skinniest one of all of us. He was like a stick. We used to call him El Esqueleto from Nacho Libre because he was so skinny. Yeah, I'm not even kidding.
Wait, which one? The Scorpio?
No, the Taurus.
Okay.
The Scorpio has never been small, ever.
Big bone.
Bone boy. Anyway, so like we would go to the doctors and they would weigh him, or they would weigh either one of us would go first, and then either one of us would go next, and it would just like really embarrass me because like I would be weighed with my brother and he would be the same weight as me, or I would be even more than him, and it just like give me like so much like identity crisis and made me feel like so shitty as a kid. And like my mom would like write it down, and even though I would like work out every single fucking day because I was a swimmer since I was in 6th grade, I was still like bigger and I couldn't do anything about it, and I didn't know how to do anything about it. And it's just like I don't understand why they would like as a kid, I would also be told that I was overweight by the doctor. Not overweight, I was obese. And I was like doing things every day, active as fuck. And I just don't understand why they would tell me that as a kid, because my mom would never make me feel like I was obese or any of that. It was just the doctors. And it's like, okay, well, like you're like giving me this like ideology that I don't even understand how to like accept or even like try to be skinny, because there's no being skinny. I can't be skinny no matter how hard I were to try. Yeah, but that's my experience going to the doctor, being weighed with my brother.
I think growing up, and you grow up, I read this article once and it really just reminded me of my family dynamics. And I feel like the culture kind of, you feed people, that's how you show them that you love them, you know? And I read an article about how a lot of kids that are low income, there's like a correlation to obesity, and the article was stating that parents who can't give their kid the toy they want instead take them to McDonald's, or like let them drink soda, or like some other kind of way to gratify that love, or like to make it substantial. And like when I was a kid, my family went through like a really huge loss, right? And I gained like fucking over, like from 4th to 5th grade, like, or from 5th to 6th grade, like a good amount of weight. And it was because of like what was going on in my family life at the time. And like no one was cooking dinner. Like I ate out 2 meals a day, you know, because my dad picked me up from school. We'd go to the hospital. I would come home. We'd grab dinner on the way home. I'd go to school in the morning. They'd pick me up again all over, you know? So it's like, we really just like view weight and like our relationship to food and our bodies as like aesthetic, but no, it's like, it's really tied to our emotional and like how we are as people. And like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, yeah, I don't know. That's what comes to mind for me.
I can totally like agree with you on that, because like I come from a big family. I have 6 siblings. And before, my dad used to be the only one working and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. So the way like me and my 2 older sisters, well, they were all 1 year apart, so they're not that much older. But the way we grew up to the way I see my younger siblings grow up, because the youngest one is like 8 years old, like it's a big difference. Like obviously, like we had my mom there to like as growing up as a kid, like how I see like my younger siblings now and like how I saw like me, like it was completely different because we had my mom and she was cooking meals, and like, you know, like we should always make sure like, you know, like we would go and do active stuff. We'd be at parks and this and that. And then now, like with my 2 younger siblings, well, my 3 younger siblings, I just like the last year when I was living at home for a good amount of time, like I could just see that like both of my parents work now. They were never home. Like my dad was like exhausted, working like 15 hours, and like, you know, like my mom would be exhausted too, and like so they would just buy dinner and buy them whatever they want, and just like, you know, take out, and I even started like, you know, like seeing it, and like that's kind of where I like stepped in, just because like I knew how I grew up and like the insecurities I have and everything, and I can kind of see that like my two younger sisters are starting to feel that way, and I like don't like it, and like I never want them to think that they're fat or think that like I hate that word. I just like fat just shouldn't be a thing, and like but my biggest concern is like I want them to be healthy. I don't want them to have any like health issues, like, you know, like because like diabetes runs in my family, and like so does like cancer as well. Like 5 people in my family had cancer, including my mom. So like it's just like for me it's like a health issue thing. And so like my dad lost a lot of weight. My dad lost about like 200 pounds, and like like he's so skinny he fits in my brother's clothes. Like it's insane. But yeah, so like he went on this huge health kick, which is like great, good for him. But like my problem with that is that like, okay, you went on this huge health kick, why not involve like your kids in it? Like why not, like, you know, like you don't want to eat McDonald's, but yet you're feeding your kids McDonald's every night. Like where's the like logic in that? Like you don't want to put this like, because like McDonald's is really like like it's just so gross, especially for like kids. Like it's just like not something that like I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like that's like kind of like I like get you when you said that, like, you know, it really goes with what you're going through as like a family, and like it's really hard when you live with family that like, you know, it's just take out, and like they don't have time to cook, or like they don't want to cook, or they're too tired to cook, and like that's totally understandable, because I mean every family goes through their own shit. But like it's also like I feel like that's why America is like, you know how they say like America is like the biggest like obese like rate or whatever like out of all the countries. And I really think it's because like Americans, like we like literally like put work before anything else. Like a lot of people put like work and money before like their like, you know, kids or family or health or anything like that. And like I've seen it, like when I was in college I was eating takeout all the time too, like, you know, just because I was working so much and like going through so much that like, you know, like I wasn't treating my body well. But like that does take like a huge toll on like what people consume and like what people eat, and like it's pretty shitty.
And then it capitalizes off, like, for instance, the Kardashians, like, making it cool and cute to be curvy all of a sudden. Like, that's why I got so mad when they started to do that, because it was like the entire family, you know, profited off of that. And it's like, okay, well, when I was younger, that wasn't okay. And y'all made fun of me and my fat ass or whatever, and now you guys think it's cool, and now you guys think it's something to be doing, and now you guys want to twerk and be like black girls. Like I've heard people be like, you know, like, how'd you get such a fat ass, or like how do you twerk, or like I'm gonna take twerking classes. Like just stop. Just stop. Like you're not gonna have it. Like just embrace your own body and just stop trying to capitalize off of other people's features. Full stop.
I agree with that. When I was in elementary school, this one bully, she was my bully in elementary school. Her name was Marina. I don't really remember her last name, but I wish I did, because I'd call her the fuck out today too. She like my best friend, and like as a kid she came over to me, and my best friend as a kid, she was younger than me. She's 2 years younger than me. And then the bully, she was like, Alondra, why don't you get your fat ass up and go talk to her? And I was like, why don't you get your fat ass up and go somewhere else? And then I just walked off to go to my best friend. But trust me, my heart was racing the whole fucking time. I was so fucking nervous. But I can relate to like little, like just like being a child and like being bullied for being bigger, and then just like all of a sudden now it's like trendy, like why the fuck is it cool? Like, why the fuck is it okay now? It's not fun at all.
Real quick, I'd like to say something. Oh, thank you all for sharing about like just this idea that what you were bullied for before